Hey friends, it's Jo, and this is Sane-ish. Today's a real treat for me because I get to hang out with two women who just get it. Jennifer Welch and Angie Sullivan from the I've Had It podcast. If you know, you know. Jen and Angie are those friends who always say the thing you were only brave enough to scream in your head. They're real, they're hilarious, and when life gets absurd, they're who you'd want next to you in the getaway car. Now they're taking all that no BS energy into a new book that you absolutely need to know about. It's called Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches, an honest, irreverent, and laugh out loud guide to life's hard and hilarious truths. That title alone tells you everything. It's funny, it's real, and it's exactly the kind of life manual for anyone who's been through the ringer and lived to laugh about it. The I've Had It podcast is a must-see for me. Like us, they're out there every day, creating a place to escape for everyone who's done pretending that any of this is normal and just wants to say what's on their mind, laugh about it, and maybe swap a few survival secrets along the way. So today, it's less interview, more friends on the couch energy. What we all have absolutely had it with and who needs to be called out, and most importantly, how we stay sane-ish and maybe, just maybe, have a little fun at Republicans' expense. Looking at you, Jalmerkin's Ted Cruz. Okay, but before we jump into this amazing chat, I want to ask you a personal question. Have you ever Googled yourself just to see what pops up? Let me tell you, I did that recently and wow. Phone numbers, old addresses, even stuff about my family. Honestly, it's very scary when random people can find out about you. And doing what I do for a living, it's probably best that all my information isn't publicly available. That's why I partnered with Incogni. They helped me take back control of my online privacy by removing my data from the shady people search sites and broker databases, which can make your life a nightmare. I like to think of Incogni as my personal cleanup crew, sweeping my data off the internet while I sit back and scroll through memes. You just sign up, give them permission to act on your behalf, and they go out and demand that data brokers delete your personal info. You don't have to email anyone, fill out forms, or jump through hoops. They handle this entire data removal process for you. And it doesn't just do that and walk away. Incogni also continuously monitors if your data is being put back onto these databases, requesting repeated removals. Best of all, you can cancel anytime, and they offer a 30-day money-back guarantee. So you can get it completely risk-free. Right now, you can get 60% off an annual plan by going to Incogni.com and using the code JOJO. That's INCOGNI.com/JOJO and use the code JOJO at checkout. Take your personal data back with Incogni. Get 60% off an annual plan at Incogni.com/JOJO and use the code JOJO at checkout.
Carmela Soprano, but cooler and prettier, is JoJo from Jers.
JoJo I have a song? I had no idea.
I just made it up.
We just made it up. We're just so
creative we are.
You're kidding, because that was so polished and perfect. I'm shocked. Hey, look, it's three blondes, but I thought our side hated blondes. Isn't that what we were supposed to be told? I thought didn't we cancel blondes?
The list of things that MAGA is triggered by grows by the day. And these are the biggest scaredy cats on the planet. And now they're terrified of the white liberal woman.
Right? They're such snowflakes. With that, I'm very excited. We're just going to jump into this, if that's okay with you, because we've never met, but I have long admired what you do, and you have blown up, deservedly so. Welcome to the Sane-ish podcast, Jennifer Welch and Angie Sullivan. By the way, Angie, my mom's maiden name was Sullivan, so we have that in common.
We might be related.
Sullivan, we could be. That was sisters from maybe another mister, but I'm welcome to the Sane-ish podcast, co-host of the I've Had It podcast that is blowing up and has a new book that I'm incredibly excited to read called Life is a Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches, which, I mean, is there a better title ever in the history of time? Hi, and welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me.
We're so happy to be here.
Yeah, thanks for having us.
Oh my gosh, you're everywhere. But this clip, and I got to play this clip because we do have, I'm sure you're tired of talking about it, but it spoke to my soul in a way. It spoke to so many, but it spoke to my soul in a way. First of all, the nicknames, can I just say, that is like my love language. So we're going to play this clip and we're going to talk about it. And then we're going to move on to talking about some other things, including your book and Gavin Newsom. I want to talk about Gavin Newsom.
I've had it with white people that triple trumped.
Yeah.
That have the nerve and the audacity to walk into a Mexican restaurant, a Chinese restaurant, an Indian restaurant, go to perhaps their gay hairdresser. I don't think you should be able to enjoy anything but Cracker Barrel. And if you want to triple Trump and you want to browbeat DEI and you want to browbeat gay people and you want to browbeat black people as you've been doing for 400 years, and you want to browbeat this generation of immigrants that come over here and open up businesses earnestly, pay their taxes, you want to demonize them and call them rapists and felons and all this shit when the felon is the teeny weeny mushroom cock piece of shit, Kankles McTaco tits at the top of the ticket. I have fucking had it from top to bottom. White people that triple Trump should be banned, boycotted from enjoying the best thing that America has to offer, which is multiculturalism. Get your fat asses out of the Mexican restaurant. Get your fat asses over to Cracker Barrel, because nobody wants to see your fucking smug ass, teeny weeny, pink arm, big gut around. Nobody wants to see that shit. No one.
Thank you. You just took us all to church. Thank you. Thank you, thank you, thank you. I say this all the time, but like laughter is medicine.
Oh, yeah.
And you have both found a way to tap into that while talking about some important, scary fucking shit at the same time.
Yeah. So, that it's funny because we have two podcasts. I've had it, and then I Hip News. I've had it as Tuesday, Thursday, and I Hip News is every day of the week. And I don't even know which one that's from.
I think it's I've had it.
Because we go that hard all the time. And sometimes we'll go kind of quasi-viral. And then that obviously just like super duper duper popped off, both on the left and on the right. The fuck your feelings crowd got their feelings hurt, which I give myself like 20 bonus points for that. Fox covered me all day, wall to wall coverage of me. And they started off with, who even is this woman? And I'm like, exactly. Then why are you talking about me?
Yeah.
If I'm so irrelevant, why are you covering me all day, Greg?
But that's when you know you're over the target. That is exactly when you know you're over the target. And mocking them, that's why I thought weird worked so well. When they were doing that weird shit in the lead up to 24, it worked so well because they don't like being mocked because they're inherently not funny. And they don't know how to respond. I mean, Greg Gutfeld is like their comic savant, and he's an idiot. But like that's why they didn't know how to respond to what you said. But the left needed what you said because it feels like everything we've all wanted to say. Sometimes I say it in my own Jersey snark a little bit differently, but that speaks to people's souls, and it triggers the hell out of them because they don't know how to handle it. They are snowflakes. They're always clutching their pearls. They're biggest victims, whiny man babies out there.
Yeah, I'm so tired of it. I mean, I didn't realize that Elon Musk was such a titty baby until he got in the administration. And I'm like, has he always been this big of a titty baby, or does just being around Trump make you that way? But what we say all the time is like, you chose to go into public service. You chose to be in the public eye. You're going to face criticism. And if you are so insecure and you need people to tell you how great you are all the time, regardless of whether you are or not, politics might not be your spot.
Yeah. And they're also thin-skinned, and because, I mean, honestly, they're all, if you ask me, I was telling this to my kids yesterday in the car. My kids are 12 and 15. My son is 15. We were talking about Charlie Kirk. And I said to him, I'm like, the thing is, they're all kind of losers. You know what I mean? Like, there's so many of them that their origin story is that they could not organically get laid. And like, that was
so true.
Like, that was it. So they're like, I can't get laid. So I'm going to go out there and blame the chicks that won't fuck me, and the immigrants and the teachers, the professors. I'm going to blame everybody else. And then I'm going to tell a bunch of you that can't get laid that it's everybody else's fault. And then together, that grievance is going to make us powerful, and people are eventually going to want to fuck us because we're going to have money. Right?
It's so true.
It's so true. But I also think there is an inherent, a lot of these people were raised uber religious. So they were raised with shame surrounding sex. And more than likely, if you're uber religious plus white, that equals racism. And so I think a lot of them have that in common. But Charlie Kirk, we had this kid on yesterday, Dean Withers. The episode will drop next week. And Dean was telling us that Charlie Kirk refuses to debate him again because Dean, 20 years old, just ripped him. And when I think about Charlie Kirk, this is what I think about JoJo. I think about how he always talks about betas and measuring testosterone in men. His words, like, I wonder what the testosterone levels are of a lib or a progressive. And there's nothing more beta on the planet than you make your whole identity release the Epstein files. You talk about it all the time. You're the cheerleader for it. And all it takes is for Cankles McTaco Tits to call you. And you say, hey, buddy. Hey, little Charlie, what you doing? Will you quit talking about it? And then Charlie just, yes, sir, like any beta would. And so I think that we need to bully these people relentlessly. I think that progressives need to be absolute dicks, and we need to have a fuck you brand of politics. And if they're fat asses, call them fat asses. We need to quit policing each other's language, and we need to go hard in the paint because they respond to this.
Fucking men. I mean, that you're literally, like, you're speaking again my love language. This is like, I subscribe to this, and 1,000%. And boy, do I love going after Charlie Kirk yesterday in the car. Again, I said to his name, and then my daughter, she's in the back seat, and she goes, oh, this guy? And she did the gums, and I can't even do it. He looks like a fucking engorged tick. Okay, like, let's be honest.
Okay,
An
here's
engorged
the
tick on a
thing.
podcast.
I did not notice that. And Jennifer brought that up to me recently, like this week, because I don't ever look at him. I see what he says. I do all that, but I don't ever watch him. That's all I can see now is the gums. And then you just reinforced it. And now every time I see him, I'm just like,
I'm
so
sorry.
bad.
I'm so sorry, but his gums are like where orgasms go to die. I mean,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? Like, between him and Steven sleeps in a coffin lined with ICE detention center
God.
blankets Miller.
Oh my, it's so
They're the most
bad.
unfuckable people who've ever walked the face of the earth.
100%. And Ted Cruz. Ted Cruz is the most unfuckable person in America.
See, we debate this.
It starts number one is Ted Cruz. JoJo, I have to go. Ted Cruz is the most unfuckable, and then we trickle down from there.
My number one most unfuckable is Stephen Miller. Like, he is just the absolute worst. And was it Jesse Waters that said, you're such a sex kitten, women? And I'm just like, there's no woman on planet Earth that looks at him and says, my loins feel enlarged. It doesn't happen. And then I am demanding a psychological profile for his wife. I need to see it. What's going on with her? She's married to him. She has JD Vance on her podcast, which was so cringy to watch. I couldn't even watch the highlights. And she works for Elon Musk. I'm just like, what happened?
She left Elon Musk to go start her podcast.
Oh,
because she wanted a space. She said a space doesn't exist for conservative women that have children, like conservative women that want to. I'm like, have you ever fucking turned on Fox News?
Right.
Like, this space has been had.
Megyn Kelly.
But
exactly.
swing for the fences. Good luck.
Yeah.
Every asshole is a podcaster. Welcome aboard, Katie.
I think when most people see Stephen Miller, most women, they cover their drinks. That's your initial,
Right.
like, your
I
visceral
immediately
response.
go into Kegels. I just
Yeah.
start Kegling immediately.
He is so bad.
But Ted Cruz.
Is it unfuckable?
Ted Cruz has a scientifically punchable face. And
Yeah.
ever since he grew that beard, remember when he ate his own booger, by the way? But ever since he grew I don't call it a beard. Do you know what Merkins are? I had to learn this the hard way. But it looks like Merkins that he, like, used boob glue and, like, attached to his jowls. And because he can't grow a full face, it's like a dollar store Wolverine look. Like, you're right. I don't know that he's less fuckable than Stephen Miller. I would have to really think about that, because then you got Don Jr. also exists, and so does Eric. I mean, they have a deeply unfuckable bench. The bench of unfuckables is deep.
It goes on.
Yes, but here's why I give the crown jewel to Ted. Okay, because everybody fucking hates Ted Cruz.
Right.
Everybody universally hates him.
Yeah.
Republicans, MAGA,
Yeah.
Donald Trump,
Dogs.
his neighbors, when he fled to Cancun, they leaked their text messages to the press, and that's how much they fucking hate him. So I can only infer from this that as cringy and unfuckable as he appears on TV, that in person and conversation, that has to deeply exacerbate that feeling of unfuckability, because I don't think I know one person that likes him. I can't even think of one. I don't even think
his
Heidi
daughter
likes him. I don't think they like him.
So
No.
The neighbor, I don't think anybody likes Ted. And I think, and it goes deep, like back to the George W. Bush era. Nobody fucking likes Ted Cruz. So the unfuckability there, I think, is peak.
Years and years ago, I met Rick Wilson for the first time. We were at some event, and I don't know how the conversation turned to this, but he said the worst kept secret in Washington, D.C. is that no one, not a soul wants an invitation to lunch with Ted Cruz, from Ted Cruz. That, like you said, across the board, Democrats, Republicans, dogs, shoe polishers, nobody wants an invitation to lunch. He with that guy. Everybody hates Ted Cruz. It's just a fact. Even Nickelback hates Ted Cruz. I mean, that's, things are bad. but the physical embodiment of how unfuckable Ted Cruz is the god awful Timu Versailles that Donald Trump has turned the Oval Office and the rest of the White House, even the cabinet room. Jennifer, you have a background in interior design. I don't know, Angie, do you come from that world as well, or
No?
God,
okay, no. I have horrible taste. That's how we met. Is she
really?
was my decorator, and she said you have horrible taste. I was like, thank you.
But was it like spray on gold fake foil?
No.
Bad taste. Can we please? This offends me on such a deep level. Can we please talk about how it looks like Liberace's ghost came all over the Oval Office, just gold everywhere?
This is what I think is going on here, JoJo. We all know that Donald Trump is intellectually lazy, that he doesn't care about policy, he doesn't care about meetings, he doesn't care about staying in the Oval Office and reading late at night. But we know the people that support him, the nefarious dark actors. I'm talking about Peter Thiel, I'm talking about Elon Musk, I'm talking about that dark Enlightenment people that put J.D. Vance. So they're pretty clever. So they say, we have to give this guy coloring books. And so his first coloring book is the Oval Office. And he's such a tight ass. He notoriously doesn't pay his subcontractors. He notoriously doesn't pay his bills. Clearly has horrible taste. This is not real wood moldings. This is not real gold leaf. These are plastic moldings that are put up arbitrarily with no rhyme nor reason to them. On the door that leads to, I believe you might remember, his mugshot, his secretary's office, and then his mugshot is there, and then you walk in the Oval. That door has raised paneling on it. The top medallions of gold that were just recently added, I noticed that they exceed the raised panel of the door, which is a no-no in interior design. The medallion should be smaller than the raised panel. He just bizarrely has two of these things flanking the fireplace, not kind of up with all the vases. And I don't know what the purpose of those two are, but every time I get a gander at what's going on in the White House, I mean, he's trying to be in his Marie Antoinette era, but the French really know how to do this. And it's real gold leaf, and it's very French. And this is a nouveau riche, white trash, knick-knack, paddywhack. And he is a disaster. But I think that they give him these projects on purpose. Like, today, sir, we're going to sign executive orders. You can do show and tell at the desk. And he signs them, and then he goes like this, because Stephen Miller, he knows what the fuck he's doing in there. And he has a plan, and he wants concentration camps. He likes to beat off to, film of people getting incarcerated and taken away. And so they know Trump doesn't even care about that. He just cares about his ego. And now, we covered earlier, he's been calling the Nobel Peace Prize Board, thirst trapping, begging for the award, JoJo.
Yeah. He ended 72 trillion foreign wars.
Right.
He brokered peace between penguins.
Yeah. And tariffs for penguins.
Right? Penguins and tariffs. No, he's surrounded it also with trophies. Like this, I've had the incredible honor of being able to be in that Oval Office when Joe Biden was still the president, and it is a humbling space. And you realize the people that have walked in there, before you, and the consequential things that have happened. And now he's turned it into, I mean, honestly, it like with the trophies and the little toy airplane, and like you said, the things that don't fit. And by the way, also, one of the things that he did to the White House was, and speaking of things that don't fit their spaces, he took a painting of the shooting of the fight moment and put it where Barack Obama's portrait was, but it exceeds the space.
It's not to scale.
Right.
You're right. I've talked about it's not to scale.
No.
In that space. And first and foremost, this is the white trash art that reminds me of all of the homoerotic images of Trump. I mean, you have this guy who's not attractive at all, but 77 million Americans are deeply attracted to him. So in order to put him in the spank bank, they have to Photoshop images of him to make it masturbatable. And so I've never seen someone with more Photoshopped images in my life. Not a gay man, not a drag queen, not a pageant queen, not a dance mom, not a cheerleader, not a sorority girl. No one has more Photoshopped images of themselves than Donald Trump. And per Jesse Waters, people who Photoshop their images aren't masculine. And this is per the Inside the Death Star of the MAGA propaganda team. So I don't know. And this is something that I think we need to start. The women on the left, the white liberal women. I want answers, and I want complete explanation from MAGA about what happened with Grindr at the convention.
Right?
Why aren't we still talking about this? I want to know exactly what happened. We need to get somebody from Grindr on the pod.
We need to
Because what's
know.
the traffic on Grindr that crashes Grindr? Like, it's worldwide. I mean, you'd have to think it'd be in the millions and millions on Grindr, like tens of millions.
I don't think Matt
I don't think
Schlapp
that
and
10
Mike
million
Johnson can do that alone. I think that it takes...
Right. It's not just them.
No. And I mean, I don't know how many testicle tanners Tucker might have brought with him to the RNC, where they were strapping the maxi pads to their ears like pure cultists. But to that end, about the homoerotic imagery, by the way, they were buying $100 NFTs of Trump on a motorcycle, like jumping over the moon in like a t-shirt, like that was like ripped. There is a tweet from an account from a guy named Joe G, and it says, MAGA, am I doing this right? And it is Gavin Newsom with the full scale, like Trump homoerotic. He's grasping like a flag, his giant hand and his bulging biceps and his pectoral muscles. And like, this is the Trump treatment. So MAGA, am I doing this right? Like, that's hysterical, brilliant trolling, but it is ridiculous. I mean, if we'd done to Joe Biden, Kamala Harris, and Hillary Clinton, here it is. Here's the picture.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, it's hysterical. Like, the shovel's bent. Like, I don't even know what's happening. First of all, he's a good-looking man in his own right.
That's what I said. The irony is Gavin looks better regular than that.
Right.
But Trump is just he's so deeply unattractive, and his hands are little. And I ask Jennifer this all the time. I am on Mounjaro, which is a GLP-1. And I'm just like, why are like Ted Cruz, Donald Trump, who is obsessed with everybody's looks, why isn't he on Ozempic? He does his hair, he does bad makeup. Why isn't he on Ozempic? Why isn't Ted Cruz? Like, why are these men, why do they think, and tell them what your answer is, because I love it so much.
I don't remember what my answer is, but now I'm thinking that the Ozempic would be good for the cankles.
Like, slim him down a little bit. No, she always says, because they're so narcissistic. They look in the mirror and think,
they're hot.
I'm hot.
That's it.
Fucking hot.
They have the opposite of body dysmorphic disorder. They're so deeply narcissistic and full of themselves. I mean, let's be honest. You can't walk around looking the way those two look. In particular, the melted Oompa Loompa, who, like, I mean, the guy is like nuclear orange at this point. I mean, he looks like, I honestly think he looks like he fell asleep in a Tupperware bowl of spaghetti sauce. And that was what he went with that day. You cannot walk around looking like that without seeing a reflection in the mirror that's irreflective of reality. What he's getting back is he's getting back, you're good enough, you're smart enough.
Totally. And people like you. 90% of the people like you.
Right? Everyone says so. Big, strong men with tears in their eyes came up to you and they said that you're the most handsome, most tan, strongest, thinnest, fittest, with the fullest head of hair. I mean, Ted Cruz is getting the same messaging, but this speaking of like cucks and beta, this is the guy who put Trump's name on his freaking boots. I mean, literally, like, it sups at the taint of a guy who called his wife ugly.
Right.
And they all talk about uber masculinity. And like you said, Gavin Newsom on a regular day, I saw him in Chicago twice, and I was like, damn,
he's attractive.
He's hot.
Yeah.
And he's really 6'3".
Yeah.
Like, legit. Yeah,
You're
he's
right.
legit tall. He's
And he
not
doesn't
5'10".
go around saying I'm masculine, because he doesn't have to. And like, I do want to pivot to him, because you guys said, you need to grow fangs and fight like hell right now about Gavin Newsom. And what he announced yesterday about how they're going to have a special election, and they're going to do what Texas is trying to do with their seats in California. And it's like, all the gloves are off right now. He is not fucking around. His fuck tree is out of fruit. So I'm curious as to, you said he's got fangs and he's fighting like hell. What is your take on what Newsom's doing, what California's doing, what the Texas Democrats are doing?
I think it's finally they've arrived to the fight. And I think that what Gavin Newsom is doing, not only with the social media, but with the redistricting, I think he should do it regardless of what happens in Texas, because that's what they would do. Mm-hmm. And I think other states that have the opportunity to do it should do it, because at the end of the day, people's lives are at risk. We are militarizing the streets. People are being deported without due process. We have people that were here legally, that were sent to CCOT, that were sexually tortured in our name. And we have to have all hands on deck. We need to quit policing other people and how they speak, and we need to go at MAGA full-throated. They are titty babies. They cannot handle criticism, which is why they go under Trump. They are perpetual victims, and I think Gavin Newsom is playing this very well. I was very mad at Gavin Newsom after the little
Charlie Kirk shit.
Yeah, that pissed me off.
Me too.
When the Democrats after the election decided, like, okay, let's talk about trans issues. And okay, I'm just like, fucking stop. They're never, ever, ever going to vote for you. People who think that transgender athletes are an issue are never going to vote for you.
Right.
Ever, 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 ever.
Right.
And so I hope that they can, the corporate Dems, if you can't fight like Schumer, I'm not seeing that in him,
No.
then step aside and let those in Congress and the Senate that want to fight. And I think that Gavin Newsom can light a fire under them. And I'm hoping that Zohran Mamdani's mayoral race shows the ones that are beholden to AIPAC to drop it, because it's not going to work. Right. It's not going to work. And our base is not stupid like the MAGA base. And we can see what's happening with our own eyes and with our own ears.
Agreed. And sorry, go ahead. What were you going to say?
No. I was just doing my head. Sorry, because I can't keep it in the frame. Sorry.
No, I was just going to say, like, I think a lot of people look at the Democrats right now and they see them as being feckless, and they see them as being pussies, and they see them as showing up to a blowtorch fight with a nail file. And I think that turns a lot of people off. And I think that either the people who are already dialed in are like, fuck this, or the people who aren't dialed in are like, this isn't for me. And so you don't grow. But I think that this is an existential, I hate, overusing that word, but this is an existential fight that we're in right now, an existential crisis that we're in right now. And we need people to just show up
and start punching throats. And I think that establishment class in our party that is trying so hard to hold on to power, they are getting in our way. Like
Totally.
you're right. Like move out of the way. I don't need you to do anything else. If you're not going to be a part of this, if you're not going to get on board with this, if you're not going to stop talking about avocados from Mexico and sending strongly worded letters, and you're actually going to get out there and show the people that you got some spine, then just move over, because there's a whole crop of people coming up who understand the moment we're in, and it is not a moment for polite rhetoric. It is a moment for fights, and that's what I think Newsom is doing, and that's what it inspires me. And he said it on a call we were on recently, where he was like, "Look, I have a year left in this office, but I got kids. I'm fighting for them right now. Like, we're looking around." To your point, Jennifer, I mean, like, people are being disappeared off of our streets. Fathers of Marines, husbands and fathers of disabled women and children. There's statistics about these children under 4. Numbers that would blow your mind, that make the child separation policy look like literal child's play.
Mm-hmm.
And this is happening everywhere, every day. And you can't meet that moment, the crisis, with conversation. That's it. Like you just can't. And I'm fired up by what he's doing, and it's making me want to fight even harder. I will say that.
No, I completely agree. And you look at, we were so disenfranchised with the oversight committee when AOC wanted to do it. Pelosi did O'Connell.
Yeah.
And then he sat there with, and I know he's dead, rest in peace. I would say this if he were alive.
Yeah.
He had his dick in his hand. He didn't do anything. Strongly worded letters. He was very unhappy. And then Robert Garcia's been in there. I don't even think it's been 2 months. Subpoenas are issued. Files are being released. Depositions are set up. Like, he's not fucking around.
Right.
And another thing that we noticed early on, which I'm so happy to see, like Robert Garcia and Gavin Newsom, and there are others.
Yeah.
But mostly it's been women. It's been women that have been saying, obviously Bernie, but when you see people going after MAGA, it's mostly women. And I'm glad to see that we have a legitimate alpha male that's 6'3", with hair, no makeup, that is out there doing this, because there has been a void and a vacuum in that area, I think.
Yeah, I 1000% agree, and I'm stoked to have something to actually sink my teeth into, like you said, with fangs. Like, we need fangs in this fight, and he's definitely doing that. But I want to pivot with the last few minutes that we have to talking about the book, because I was reading some snippets about the book, Life is the Lazy Susan of Shit Sandwiches, and one of the things that really resonated with me is you don't just talk about politics, like you don't just talk about politics on your shows. But one of the things that you wrote was that fuck-ups were said. Fuck-ups are relatable. And there's so much power in owning the missteps that we've had in our life. And the way my perspective on it is, every mistake, with air quotes, to take the page out of Don Jr.'s playbook, that I have made in my life, every misstep has turned out to be an opportunity, because I decided that it was going to be, and turned it into one. And so you're very honest in the book about your trials and tribulations, your own battles, your own demons, your own fuck ups, so to speak. So can you talk a little bit about the book and about that component of the book and that thread throughout it?
I think for me, I was raised super religious, evangelical in Oklahoma. And I just went down the line with whatever I was told to do by my parents. And I just assumed that's what I would do. And when I had kids, and what I found was, even though I'd gone to law school and I'd worked, that I fell into the pattern of someone that was a stay-at-home mom with zero money of their own, married to a man that was an abject disaster. And then I realized I had no ability to cope with the problems, because all of my relationships had been surface level, because I didn't have any friends that I could say, this is what's really going on in my life. I had Jennifer, thank goodness, whatever. But at the end of the day, what it brought to me, because I thought my life was the only one that was fucked up. I thought I was the only one that was a failure. And what I realized when I went outside my comfort zone is that everybody has their own shit. And instead of being a judgmental asshole, I could be a place for people that didn't even really know me that well, but they knew that my life had fucking imploded, and that I would be shock proof. And so it gave me a whole new look on empathy, because growing up as a Republican evangelical Christian, you don't have a lot of empathy for people. So because you kind of think you're better than everybody. So for me, it was just relatability, and I'm fucked up and things, I'm not saying everything happens for a reason, blah, blah, but just your failures don't have to define you. And it's better to be honest than live with the lie that makes you miserable. It's rather to be honest and just let the chips fall, in my experience.
Yeah. I mean, I think you just spoke to me about, I have a very similar path as you. And those superficial relationships you're talking about, they feel like a prison, right? It feels so lonely and isolating because you're like, I'm just operating up here so that on the surface, everything looks fine. And I'm playing the part that I'm supposed to play. And doing that is such a betrayal of what's going on underneath the surface that for me, that made me feel like I was drowning. Like it made me feel like I was alone in my own prison of a reality that the front facing image didn't match what was happening behind the curtain, and that can really isolate us and lead to a lot of darkness. So I'm incredibly impressed and proud that you came through that, and you're now this incredibly loud and powerful voice out there, making other people through this book, through your podcasts, feel seen in a way that maybe you didn't when you needed it most.
That's true.
Yeah, it's, we've been friends so your listeners know, we've been friends for like 25 years. And I've always been progressive. I was raised an atheist in the middle of the Bible Belt, so completely different upbringing than Angie. But the common thread is adulthood is hard, and making good choices when you're a young adult, it's very difficult. And you have to learn how to embrace your fuck ups, learn from them, own them. My husband, and I talk about this a lot in the book, is a recovering drug addict, and addiction affects so many people. And his drug of choice initially was opiates, pharmaceuticals. After that, Xanax. And so, there's a lot underneath the problems that we have that arrive in the system that we have, where we are a for-profit healthcare place, and hundreds of thousands of people died because of the opioid epidemic. And I have so much gratitude that the father of my children is now in recovery. And I mean, it was hard. It was brutal. Jojo, he went to rehab 5 times. I hated him. I wanted to claw his eyes out. But so many people, Republicans, Democrats, independent, don't give a fuckers, have experienced and have been around people that suffer from alcoholism, from addiction. And there is a way to get your life back on track and not live in the insanity and the chaos that addiction cultivates. And I was in the chaos and I was in the insanity. And now I'm just as boring as the day is long. Our online life looks like, oh, well, they're 2 Spitfires. I bet they're a lot of fun. We're both in bed by 8:30 p.m., asleep and up at 5 a.m. So, and I value that boredom. I appreciate after work hour boredom. Boredom is a luxury that I embrace. I embrace the stillness and the quiet. And I just think the one message that we want our book to have to people is problems are universal. Dysfunction is universal. There are varying degrees of it. But if you have problems, dig deep and get empathy. And our hope is with that empathy, you're not a judgmental prick like triple Trumpers. That's our hope.
Again, I'm having this conversation with you. It's like I feel a kindred spirit connection to both of you, because I lost my brother and my mother to opioids in the span of a few years.
I'm in recovery from opioid addiction. So
I didn't know that. Oh
yeah.
my gosh. Yeah. And testament to both of you and to your husband, Jennifer.
I'm so sorry about your mom and your brother.
Well,
it's everywhere.
That's the thing, right? So to both of your points about all of this, I know how insurmountable recovering and digging out of that, not only is for the person walking it, but for everybody who loves them and who is connected to them and impacted by them. It impacts everyone. And to walk through that and come out of it And I know that it's not over. There's no finished spot. There's nowhere like, we won. There's no bell to ring. It's a perpetual process. But to be able to be on some other side of it and then share your insights, your perspective, your journey, your wisdom with other people is so important. Because again, like you said it, these things don't care about what letters next to your name when you go to vote. Addiction is not partisan. It doesn't pick and choose based on which president you voted for. And we often forget that like there are more things, good and bad, that unite us than there are things that divide us. They want us to believe that there are more things that divide us. They want us to believe that opioid addiction belongs to one side. They want us to believe, all of the lies that they tell us about the Democrats hating America and hating God and all this other stuff. But one of the things that like is for me, the best, clearest way through that noise, that bullshit, that propaganda is having conversations that are honest and truthful and raw and vulnerable and real. And you both do that while infusing sanity-saving humor in it at the same time. And that combination is lethal. And it is absolutely how we pierce through the noise and the propaganda and the bullshit coming from Taco Tits and the likes of his, like I said, taint-supping toadies who very much want to disconnect us from each other, because in that space, they can grab more power. So thank you. Thank you for your podcasts. Thank you for your voices. Thank you for your book. I'm going out and getting it immediately because I have just met you for the first time. And I feel like, I don't know, that we were separated at birth on some level. So I'm so, so grateful for this conversation. And I hope to have more conversations in, the months and years ahead as we fight this fight of our lifetimes.
And JoJo, thank you for having us on, and thank you for all the work you do on Twitter. Twitter's not a platform that either one of us really mess with because it is a rough place for women. So you are really fighting the good fight, and you have uber thick skin, and we have super thick skin, but I would say yours is thicker and you have bigger dick energy, because Twitter is not a safe place for women. And you go out there and you are, MAGA slayer extraordinaire. So kudos to you. And thank you for representing the white liberal woman on Twitter.
It is a blessing and a curse to be able to go out there and get told every single day how irrelevant I am as they punch each other in the little teeny peens to be the first one in my replies to tell me that no one gives a fuck about anything I say. And then they post a meme that they made in their basements of me with a giant rack every fucking time. It's we hate you. Here's a meme we made in mommy's basement of your giant tits. That's what they do. So it is tough, but somebody's got to do it.
Somebody's got to take the mantle.
Thank you so much, Jennifer Welch and Angie Sullivan, for joining me on the Sane podcast. This was a blast. I cannot wait to talk to you again. I'm like chomping at the bit for the next time I can do that.
It was fun. Thank you.
Huge gratitude to Jen and Pumps for showing up and making it feel like the world makes a little more sense, at least for the length of this conversation. If you found yourself nodding along today or laughing at something you're a little embarrassed to admit, you're definitely not alone. This connection, this is just the beginning. So let's keep the conversation going, keep it honest, and leave the door open for next time. Jen, Pumps, you'll always have a spot on the couch here. Until then, take care of yourself, call it like you see it, and never forget, sometimes the best sanity check is just saying, I've had it, out loud with friends.